This is the official launch of Femme Sensuelle, my brand new program. This is the deepest sensual reset for your body, your femininity, and your turn on. In this program, you're going to learn not just how to live in your feminine energy, but you will also learn how to release generational shame, magnetism that doesn't require any effort, nervous system safe, seduction, daily rituals that rewire your body into softness, turning sexual energy into creative power, sensual movement, yoni rituals, feminine archetypes, and so much more. The women that are activating deeper layers of their femininity and sensuality from Femme Sensuelle are not new to feminine embodiment work. They're just unlocking a whole new way to be in their bodies, pleasure, and turn on. DM me the word femme on Instagram, FEMME, so that you can join Femme Sensuelle with an amazing discount before the price goes up next week. And in today's episode, I really want to debunk something about sensuality and feeling like a cutie, flirty, sensual woman. This is a new term that I really, really fucking love, so we're gonna roll with it. Let me tell you something. I have seen so many embodiment mentors telling their stories about sensuality, how they went from disconnection to connection and activation. This is not my story. And I know my story is also similar to so many other women. It's just not the story that is mostly talked about. So I want to bring it out of the shadows for us today and for us to find just more fucking liberation and just, oh my God, I want to be able to breathe with you, to breathe in pleasure, to activate the most sexy, juicy part of us. Because let's be real, I was always a cutie, flirty, sensual woman, but I had no clue how to feel sexy, how to move my body, and how to be slow, how to be present with my life, how to be like present in the body. When we talked about embodiment, when we talk about all those concepts, what does that mean? You know, this feeling of like you are in the present moment, like nothing else exists, and you can be really savoring and, you know, like, savoring the pleasures of life, being present to a smell, a touch, just the air on your skin, things like that. I didn't know, I had no clue how to do that without the shame that came with it. And in early stages of my life, I felt so naturally innocent, so cutie, flirty, sensual, in such an innocent way. This is also why part of Femme Sensuelle is reclaiming our erotic innocence. This is a whole chapter in the program because I profoundly believe that we were born with that ability. We were born with that ability to be present and to feel life force energy, aka sexual energy, sensual energy, all of those pleasurable energies naturally in our bodies. And it's because of society, how we've been conditioned, how the things we've heard growing up that we shut that part down. It's because of the shame. The shame. Guys, you know how shame is like the worst feeling in my body? Like I feel like shame is definitely one of the worst feeling ever. I don't know if you feel the same, but like I can remember to like a stupid anecdote where I felt ashamed. And even to that day, my body can almost not process it. Like I remember this one time I was invited, it's so random, you guys, but I was invited by a guy to have a drink, and I show up to the bar and it was late, and I was in a taxi before, and the taxi was like so weird. Everything went wrong that night, and I arrived to the bar super exhausted. The bar is about to close, and I'm waiting for this friend that I just met, and I'm like super panicky. I had to pay double the price for my taxi, but I was like, whatever. Arrived to the bar, I asked for a beer, I got served the drink, and then the waitress, she's like, okay, it's that much. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna pay by card. And she's like, we don't take the card. And I already had my drinks like done and open for me. I think I even drank the thing, and I was like alone at the bar because I couldn't see my friend initially. And I got so ashamed of like, oh my God, I already started this drink. What am I going to do now? And I felt so bad, like the level of shame. And it was added another layer of shame when I'm like explaining to the waitress, like, oh, I'm waiting for a friend. Like, wait until he comes. Like, I'm sure he will help me to pay for my drink because I don't have any cash on me right now. And I was like, oh my God, I'm saying that, but I don't even know really this guy. And oh, it's going to sound so bad. And I was still in that phase of like being the strong, independent women. So I was like, oh my God. And I felt layers of shame building up. And then to my left or to my right, I don't really remember, but this guy turns to me and he's like, oh, you're waiting for a friend, huh? Like, he listened to the whole conversation. That was the guy I was looking for, like I was meeting with, and he was with another friend, and they kind of like laugh together, and I felt so embarrassed, so fucking embarrassed. I hate to even remember that time. The feeling in my belly is disgusting. Like, honestly, it feels disgusting in my belly because like I was like, wait, you heard me this whole time, you were there this whole time, I didn't see you, because I was like, you know, when you're like panicking and your eyes don't even function properly. And it was like having this attitude towards me. And it was years ago, and I still remember the feeling of shame. The same way I remember the feeling of shame when I started to understand that it was wrong to be in my sensual energy. When I started to understand that being a woman came with a lot of shame around how our body looks, how we dress, how we speak, how we behave. I remember early on in school, if a woman will roll her hips as she walked, aka walking in a very sensual feminine way, she would be called a slut. If she wears certain types of boots, she would be called a slut. If she had sex with someone, she would be called a slut. Like, no matter what, like, a woman were placed into so much shame depending on so many things, like the way she talks, if she liked a guy, like, and that was like early on in school, like we were kids basically, and you internalize all this fucking shame. So then when you're trying to feel sexy and to move your body in a free way, in a way that feels very pleasurable and very free, very liberated, it feels so unnatural, unfamiliar, and uncomfortable. I remember my own desires felt dangerous. My radiance, like the fact of like being glowing and being myself and, you know, being free, like this idea of freedom for me, that is not through a lifestyle. This is not through money. This is not through, I don't know, like traveling. Like, this is not that. Like, freedom for me is a feeling in the body. It's like, oh my God, I can be myself 100%. I'm connected to my emotions. I'm connected to the truth of my being, and I feel free. Freedom and liberation. This is all of my work, whether we talk about sensuality through my programs about sensuality, whether we talk about relationships, whether we talk about business, everything in my work is about this feeling. It's about this feeling of freedom and liberation because of the heavy conditioning and the boxes we put ourselves in, or we were put in, because we didn't fully choose that, I feel like. But then when we grow up and we're more conscious, of course we keep choosing that box that limits us. We keep choosing to be a copy paste version of everyone else, to dress in the way that turns down our light, our radiance, our glow. We choose that because we don't choose otherwise. We don't choose the liberated version of us. How many of us have been watching other women feeling so freaking free and liberated and dancing sexy or performing something like creating art, singing, dressing a certain way, and we're so triggered or so envious and jealous and we want to be them, and we're like, oh my God, like I would never, like this is not for me. So for me, that was it. My radiance and feeling like myself and feeling liberated felt impossible to embody. And softness, like being soft and surrendered and feminine, that wasn't even in my vocabulary. I didn't even know what it was. Like I couldn't even, like, I'm not saying that just to say that. Like that was literally not in my vocabulary. And not just in English, because I was French, you know, like even in my French language, in my native language, aka French, I didn't know. I didn't know those things. And I really felt like I had no clue how to feel. Like, even though I was a sensual, innocent, erotic person by nature, I always had that cutie flirty side to me. Like, I would always want to flirt with life, with people, with deep connection, to invite people more in themselves through me, through my presence. Oh, just talking about this makes me so activated. And that's the kind of activation I want for every single woman that have felt the same kind of jail. Jail? How do you say that? Prison, right? They felt imprisoned in a cage. Like, let's be free now. Okay? So I didn't know how to feel sensual and magnetic, but big but here, big but. My body did. My body did know how to feel sensual and magnetic, because again, that was my most natural state. I had to go back to the most natural state. So eventually, after shutting down my expression for so long, after being called a slut, someone who doesn't respect herself, because I was free, wide, like expressive, like I would say what I would use my voice, I would dance freely, I would dress freely, I would just be that kind of woman, when I was younger, that would look at you in the eyes and feel something deep. I would be unapologetically flirting with people. I would be such a little seductress, but also with just life. I would express my gratitude to this world. I would express my difference. I would feel so empowered in the fact that I was different. I was connected to so much aliveness, and I was so sensual and sexual. I was a sexual person. Didn't mean I had sex with a lot of people at the time, but I felt this life force energy running through me, and so freely. And then I quite I picked up on all the shame, and then I got bullied in my business school for being a slut. And I was like, oh, I think I need a rebrand, because the slut, which is funny now, because now I play with that term a lot, and I even teach my client how to embody the sacred slut and to reclaim all of, to really go deep into the shame that we felt and those kind of insults that we still hear today of being a slut, a whore, whatever. And reclaiming that archetype of oh, I'm a well-fucked woman. Of course I'm a fucking slut. But at the time, I didn't choose that title. So I really wanted a rebrand. And I hid myself under the archetype of the spiritual girly. And being so deep and spiritual, please take me seriously. Please. I'm so much more than just this, beautiful things. And I started to believe that beauty and pleasures, all of that was superficial. And I was I need to go in the deep things. So I started to change my style, to completely change my style. I started wearing baggy clothes, really hippie clothes, tie and dye, oversized things, Doc Martens kind of things. And it's so funny because if you look at my journey of how I dress, I think I've always been quite a girly girl. I love dresses and high heels. I don't wear high heels anymore. And that's also part of the program, because we talk about clothing and adornments and how we try to be sensual in a way that restrain the body and hurts, when we could be sensual in being extremely comfortable. You even have in Femme Sensuelle, as a bonus, you have a suggestion of all the brands that I love in order to dress comfortably and sexy, because those brands are hard to find, and it took me years to find something that I love to wear that activate that version of femininity for me. But anyway, I really started to hide myself under a whole different style physically, and thinking that all those things were superficial or not necessary or whatever. But I still had that part of me in me, right? Like she was screaming. She was like suffocating inside of me. And then I would see other women, as I said, like on Instagram or in the streets or in the magazines or on the TV or in the movies. And I was like, oh my God, she's embodying like this seductress energy, this playful, alive, the kind of woman that is like, oh my God, she's so hot and cute and sexy. And I felt triggered. I was like, I think I want to be like that again myself. And so I started to question, like I suffocated her so much to the point of also being in a relationship with a woman and starting to adopt her style. So from the baggy spiritual clothes, I went into the full lesbian tomboy energy, which was just a reflection of how codependent I was with my partner at the time, that I started to become like her and to dress like her, to wear snapbacks and everything. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And even though I'm kind of grateful for that version of me and everything that I've learned from it, I can see now how it's not me. I'm a motherfucking Libra. I love everything beauty, cute, like super feminine. Like this has been an attraction of mine, a passion of mine, something that makes my eyes become like little heart emoji eyes. I had heart eye emoji. Yeah. That activates me so much since I'm a little girl, even to that day. Like I'm turning 30 in 3 months and I'm still feeling this way. So when I think about this time of my life where I dated a woman, and you can see the evolution of my style, because in the beginning I'm still a girly girl, my long hair, dresses, little cutie feminine things, what we think, right, when we think about something feminine. And my ex-partner was really deep into her tomboy, like that was her style, and that's what I was attracted to at the time anyway. Like that was so hot to me, but that was not me, right? There's a difference being attracted by something, especially we're often attracted by some kind of complementary thing, right? Something that is not us, but that complements us so much. And so I was attracted to that very much, but I knew that was not me. But I don't know, then in relationships, I tend to do that and to become just like the other person. So I see my style evolving and I look like a dude, right? I'm really deep into the embodiment of that lesbian style, like really deep. And so I feel like that was again like me forgetting about that part of me, suffocating even more that part of me. But at some point, my body, who remembered how to feel sexy, cutie, little flirty, sensual woman, she was screaming loud enough that I had to listen. And I started to wonder, when I got brokenhearted from that relationship and I really was sobbing in the shower, I would remember that day forever, because I told myself and God, and I declared out loud, sobbing in my shower, I'm going to marry myself. And that means I'm going to love myself and reclaim every single lost part of me until the last bits. And I would do whatever it takes to marry myself. I would never again rely on someone else's love for me to feel good. I would never lose myself that much in a relationship. I'm gonna be reborn from this like my true fucking self, because I still feel like I was playing small. I was uncomfortable in my body. No matter how, on the outside I looked fine. I was smiling, I was doing the things, I was living my life, but I knew I had so much untapped potential. Like I knew it, but I didn't want to even admit it to myself. But I felt the disconnection, I felt the misalignment. And on that day, once more, crying, devastated in my shower, screaming. And I was like, I'm going to marry myself. And I went on to this whole process of reclaiming every single version of me. And the big thing that came through was my sexual awakening, reclaiming my femininity, my feminine energy on such a deep level. And I dove right into that work. That work not only saved me, but it made me feel more like myself than ever. And I started to be like, what if I could finally really feel like myself. I was done. I was done with the frustration of I'm never truly me. You know, this frustration of holding back something really powerful about me, something really magnetic, something really cute, something really fucking great about me. I was done completely locking that part away. Just because, and it's because I wasn't just missing out on pleasures and presence in my life. I was just missing myself. And that's a horrible feeling to live with. And I talk a lot about this because this is one of the hidden costs of not being connected to that part of us as women. I feel like every woman should go through that and find their own versions of what it means to deconstruct the shame, deconstruct all of the bullshit we've learned, all of the things we think we like, but it's not even our true nature. In order to really unlock those parts of ourselves that are so sexy, cute, and magnetic. And that's when I started to intentionally cultivate my feminine energy and use embodiment as a way to turn myself on and to free that super surrendered feminine side of me, that I started to dress differently, to speak with more confidence, to attract better men, to create a business and a life that looked 10 times more sexier than it was. Why? Because when you master your feminine fire, you become irresistible, incredibly magnetic, and you're on your fucking game. Like, you're on your game. You're in your game. I don't know how you say that in English, but like, you're the shit. And when I say you're irresistible to men, to opportunities, to friendships, to just life is coming into that seduction with you. You're flirting with life. Is not just a way of saying like, oh, you're cutie, flirty, sexy, you know, whatever. It's not just cute to say that. You're literally in a romance, a passionate, flirtatious romance with life. This is freaking epic. And you become irresistible to your desires. The things you're starting to manifest because of that energy, because of you learning to be in your feminine power, because we haven't been taught that. We haven't been taught that. And it's so damn powerful. I think that's why we haven't been taught that, because it's scary to a lot of people, even to ourselves sometimes. I also teach this work, and a lot of my clients for Femme Sensuelle are women that are afraid. They know they feel this untapped potential the way I used to feel that I was not at my full potential, but it's so scary. We're like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And it's scary for many different reasons, right? We can be scared because we are afraid of being judged by friends, family, colleagues, even other women, right? Like the sisterhood wound. Oh my God, that runs so deep. So we have learned to censor our expression, to shrink, to stay in the lines, to not make any waves. And even though sometimes we long to show more of yourself, there is this inner battle, and you worry about what other may think. And it's natural. Like, everyone that says like this fucking stupid sentence of like, oh, just be yourself, don't give a fuck about what people think, like, that's not fucking true. Your brain is wired to care. Your brain is wired to care about what other people think. So this is just a natural thing. But the thing is, you don't have to announce it. You don't have to announce anything, right? You don't have to change overnight. You can start this journey quietly, privately, in your own timing. And this journey is actually such an intimate one. You don't have to say it to anyone. If you take Femme Sensuelle, though, you have to share it with me. But of course, I'm not the one who's going to be judging you, because I'm the one pushing you to unlock that part of you, or to bask in it a lot more. Because this program is also designed for women that are already familiar with feminine work. They just want to go deeper. They just want to bask in that energy of devotion to the feminine, right? Another fear that can show up is we're afraid to look vulgar or being misunderstood. And that was like a big one for me, because it was not just a fear, it was a past experience, right? Like everyone calling me a slut, someone who doesn't respect herself, someone that was so vulgar, so provocative. Do you say provocative in English? Provocative? It's not even French. Like, I don't know what language I'm talking about. But yeah, somewhere along the way, sensuality got confused with hypersexualization. So if you express even the slightest part of sensuality, people are like, oh my God, she's such a slut. And I feel like people that say that, like, girl, you know, if you're well fucked, if you're orgasmic as fuck, if you're in your feminine power, there is no way on earth, I'm telling you, no way on earth that you're gonna make fun or you're gonna slut shame someone, right? So all those motherfuckers that are slut shaming other people, they're just really not well fucked. And they think because they're having sex every day or 2-3 times a week or, you know, quite consistently, they think that, oh my God, I know what sex is like. But if you're really tapping into your orgasmic power and being a well fucked woman, there is no fucking way on earth that you're gonna make fun or criticize or judge or think of someone as being, you know, vulgar. Like, you would have so much respect. And that's also how we can spot if we still have some triggers and everything. That's how we can spot where we're at with our bodies, our sexuality, sensuality, feminine expression. If we find ourselves being triggered or judging other people, that's fine too. That's your conditioning. That's a place of you that feels so small, so uncomfortable. That's the point of this episode, right? So I'm not going to judge you for that, because I've been that. I've been slut shaming other women. When I was younger, I was like, oh my God, she's such a slut. Until that was me on the spotlight and being bullied by so many people. Like, that was the entire business school. It's a lot of people. And I've been blacklisted from places I really want to be part of, things I wanted to be part of. Like, that was super freaking painful. And I'm so grateful I had amazing friends at the time, amazing roommates that held me. And when people got to know me personally, they were like, oh my God, like, I never thought you would be that cool. Like, people would literally fall in love with me. So I had, you know, people that initially like were hearing the rumors and like spreading the rumors and talking about it, because like, you also want to belong, right? So that's why you join the fun of criticizing someone else. And everything was based on lies, which, you know, I don't know. Such a shame, because like, my biggest dream, parenthesis here, my biggest dream is to come back to this business school. Like, I have so many like daydream vision of that, where I'm like standing in front of all the promotion at the time, you know, and I'm on stage and I'm like empowering people through sexuality and sensuality and being free and like claiming it so widely and like, oh, you know, like I don't know how to describe this energy. Like, it's so primal in me of like, yes, like, let's be sluts. And I'm really reclaiming that so entirely and so fully to kind of heal that part of my past. And I feel like, of course, I've healed it. Like, look at what I did today. And I just wish I could, you know, be on stage about it, because like, we need more eyeballs on this. So anyway, this I kind of lost my thread of thought, as you could imagine, but that's why we're coming full circle, because we are on the right podcast here. This fear of being vulgar or misunderstood, like, this is so scary for us, especially if you, like me, had the experience. It's not just a fear, it's like a wound or a trauma even. And you don't want to feel exposed or misunderstood. Like, my whole life, I feel like people are not going to understand me properly. So I'm like also turning the volume down on those aspects of me, because I'm like, oh, people aren't going to think I'm flirting when I'm not. I'm just being like so present, so alive. And I don't want to be misunderstood. And so, yeah, like, being like provocative, it's not the point, because real sensuality doesn't require skin or shock, right? So no, you don't have to become a little provocative little slut like me unless that's what you truly want to, right? And it's more about the way you move, the way you breathe, the way you exist. It can be subtle, it can be super elegant, it can be effortless, and it can be just fully yours. This is something I really, really want to empower women in. It's ours to own. Personally, I love to show a lot of skin. Personally, I also love sometimes to be in the elegant version of it. Like there are so many versions of the archetype, let's say, of femme sensuelle, like being a sensual woman, sensual, sensual woman, that it can be whatever you want, right? Another fear, another block could be the weight of the male gaze, right? So as I was saying, like being misunderstood and everything, like you've been looked at in ways that makes you feel like you want to disappear, like you're a piece of meat. This is just disgusting. Like how many times, like I know every single woman listening to this episode have had this experience, because I don't know any woman who hasn't been looked at that. Also probably because my girlies are like super fucking hot, and that's a curse. And it's not a curse. Like that's my whole point. It's not a curse. But I know even sometimes just I was going in the street just to like put out the trash. So wearing no makeup, like my hair like crazy, like not even like, you know, I didn't make any effort, and I was still, you know, how do you call that in English? Fuck. Catwalk? Catfish? No, catfish, that's a whole other topic. I'm sorry. What do you say when you're like, people are like, whoo, in the streets? I can't even do the proper sound, so I'm sorry. But you know what I mean? Like, I've been bothered by men or looked at in a way where I really want to shrink inside and disappear. And it's like, I clench my body. I start to armor up just in order to feel safe, because then I feel threatened, right? And I feel like I'm sending the wrong signal. And it's hard to let softness in when you're all armored up against that. And my message here is like, reclaiming your sensuality doesn't mean making yourself invisible to everyone, right? You can have strong boundaries and reconnect with your body for you. And then you're learning how to feel safe, rooted, and in control, even when you have eyes on you. In a flip that I've done myself in my life, like I used to be so pissed, you know, if I'm walking in the street and there is a car and they're like honking at me. Do you say honking? Beep, beep. This episode is messy, you guys. I'm like doing more sounds than I've ever done in a podcast episode. But, you know, they're going by you and they're making comments, or they're just honking the car like beep, beep. I don't know if it's the proper term. I need to look it up. And I used to be so pissed. Like, how dare them, blah, blah, blah. And then I did all of this work on myself and healing my relationship with the masculine and everything. And I'm like, they just know how to honor the goddess and the beauty of the feminine. They just don't know how to do it in a way that feels hot and cool. Like, this is a bit disgusting, but at least they can see it. They honor my beauty. And it's also about learning how to receive. Like, I know this is tricky if you're still stuck in that old paradigm, but my new paradigm now is like, they just see my beauty. Thank you. This is a compliment. It's the way it's delivered. It's not really sexy, but I receive it. I receive that you find me attractive. Thank you. And this is amazing work to do. And that's also, I will talk about it later in another episode, right? Because otherwise this one is going to be super long. But if you're also worried, another fear that comes up for a lot of people is you're worried it's not appropriate. You know, maybe for your job or your lifestyle. Maybe, you know, people are going to, again, it's kind of all connected, but maybe you work in a corporate job, male dominated, maybe very conservative space. And you're like, oh my God, how am I going to unleash that part of me? Because I don't want to feel exposed and look unprofessional. And let me tell you this, sensuality isn't really about how you dress or how you act in public, right? It's how you feel inside of you. So again, it's a quiet confidence that walks in the room with you, but it doesn't have to be out and out there. It doesn't need to be loud to be powerful, because again, it's so intimate. It's your relationship with yourself, right? And I want to cover 2 more blockages or fears, some stuff that are blocking us, and to maybe try help and, move on the other side of it. But maybe you think, like me, I was thinking, oh my God, sensuality and like being powerful and feminine is for other women. Again, I was seeing those women, like singers, people on the TV, people on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. I was seeing those women and I was like, oh my God, like I would never be her. Like there is no fucking way. I thought it was, the bold ones, the sexy ones, the one who just have it naturally. And they're just like this. They're like, also, can we talk about the body? We're going to talk about this in a minute. But I was like, this is not. I felt like I didn't belong to the conversation. The thing is, we do belong to the conversation. Sensuality is not a personality type, right? It's part of what we are, as I said, in our essence. So you don't need to be loud and extroverted and ready. You just have to be open, curious, and willing to feel just a little more alive within yourself. And if you truly understand that you have your own version of sensuality, it doesn't have to look like other women, and that you can definitely embodying it at your level and how it feels for you. Like, don't compare yourself to other women. Like, you're not going to be like them. You're going to be like you, but like 10 times more awakened, sexy, like cutie little flirty with life. So, 2 more things. Oh no, I have so much more I want to cover actually. Okay. I had to check my notes for a minute. Okay, because actually I have a lot more. Let's go. If you think you need to lose weight first, I wanted to talk about the body. Let's talk about it. Like, come on, you girls. I know this feeling. How many women? And like, I was shocked. I'm always shocked. I run women circles where we talk about something about the body during the opening circle. And every time I see the most gorgeous, amazing, fit women, they live in a body that I would kill for. And they talk about how they are not confident, how they see themselves. And I'm like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, are you serious? Like, your body is perfect. And she's talking about how much like she's uncomfortable in her own skin, how like she thinks she's too this, too that, too fat. She needs to lose weight, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my fucking God. We often think that we can feel confident only after we've changed the body, right? We always postpone this aliveness until that some future version of you exists. Like, we do that. We project that this future version of us is going to change everything. And that's because we're going to change the body that we're going to feel in the aliveness. And the thing is, sensuality doesn't really wait for the after, right? It lives in how you treat yourself now. And right now, we fucking deserve to feel beautiful, magnetic, and at home in our bodies exactly as we are. And it can change. And let me tell you this, if I can record this whole program that I've created, Femme Sensuelle, postpartum, with like 16 kilos overweight, then you can feel sensual too, right? No fucking excuses. And I'm saying that because I really know the feeling. I know what it's like to feel horrible in your skin. I know what it's like to look in the mirror and see not yourself, but a fat girl. I know what it's like to hate everything about your body. Like, I've been there so many times in my life, trust me. And then I look back at pictures and I'm like, I was so hot. What the fuck was wrong in my mind? I was so hot, I would dream to have this body again now. I've struggled with that like so many times in my life, and it still shows up. And that's why those tools are so valuable, because they help me to connect with my body and to make peace with my body. There is also a lot of body image healing that needs to happen. And this is why we cover that. And we cover that also having, this nervous system safe kind of seduction. So, like, this is not an excuse. Like, never use that as an excuse. You would be surprised how many women feel this way. And I want to talk more about this actually, because this is something that I have been living in my own shadows for a long time, because I felt like, oh my God, if I'm not confident in my body, if I'm like feeling insecure, people are going to see it even more. So I need to pretend, right? I don't know if you had that, but that's something that even between us girls, like, we talk about it because it feels good to talk about it between, you know, like best friends and stuff. But because we need to like empty the bag at some point, and we're like, oh my God, I feel so horrible. And I'm like looking at old pictures of myself and blah, blah, blah. But there is so much shame. There is so much shame to even feel that feeling. That's why we need to feel safe in our sensuality. Okay? So the last thing I want to cover when it comes to the fears, the blockages, the things that can prevent us from doing this important work is we felt unsafe in our sensuality or sexuality before, right? Maybe someone crossed a boundary, sorry. Maybe something happened that made you feel disconnected. Maybe you learn to protect yourself by shutting down because something bad happened. Again, you know, I'm trying my best to talk only about things that I have experience with, because that's how you can feel held, right? I cannot talk about what it's like to have a dog because I don't have a dog. But I can talk about how it is to, you know, suffer and like having had traumatic experience with sensuality, sexual abuse. Like, I can talk to that. I can talk to really painful experiences in life. And I want to talk about this because it's important. Those are important topics. And the more we are running away as a society, as a collective, the more we are placing it in the taboo and never speaking to it, the more we're going to suffer, because we need to heal in community. We need to be able to talk about those things. Okay? That's why I'm passionate about this. And also because so many fucking girls like are here teaching things that they have no fucking clue. And even people are trying to be there for you when they don't have the experience of what you went through or some similar experience. They can try to be there. They can try to have compassion, but it's different when you're faced with someone who knows what you're talking about. This is different. This is a level of support, love, and connection that is beyond this word, and that is so freaking needed when we've been through hard things. Whether, honestly, like, it can be with sensuality, our bodies, all those heavy topics, but it can be in business too. It can be in mental health. It can be in your gym journey. It can be any area of life. When someone has gone through a version of your own struggles, you're held in a different way. This is a topic that I'm also so passionate about, as you know. So, your body was wise enough to protect yourself by shutting down, right? And the feeling of feeling unsafe is actually, I'm not safe, so I'm going to protect myself, right? So if your body is capable of making you feel safe by shutting down, your body is also capable of making you feel safe to come back home into your body at your own pace. It comes from a place of self-love, self-respect, and self-honoring. You're honoring your own pace and your own journey. You don't owe access to anyone, right? This is a place for you to reclaim your relationship with your body, to heal what you have to heal on your own terms. This is super important because I know so many women, we've been through things and we're still healing, and then we feel like we have to be open, right? We have to like move on. And no, this is you and you. This is your sacred place for healing and for meeting those parts of yourself and flirting with those parts of you. Okay? I think we covered a lot of the fears that I wanted to talk about in this episode because I've been scared. I've been really, really, really scared. And it's important for me to talk about this because, again, when you start to intentionally cultivate those parts of your journey, like the feminine aspect of you, when you start to lean into those embodiment practices, changing the way you dress, speaking differently, breathing, moving, just acting differently, seducing life and men or other people differently, when you're creating a business or, living a creative life in a different way, like this unlocks something so amazing about yourself and a level of confidence that is otherwise not accessible. This is really important work because it's important to feel deeply at home in our bodies, right? Like the shrinking, no thanks. The overthinking, the living in shame forever. Like, oh my God, no. Fuck no. I don't know if you're familiar with this. I've done this recently, and it's going to be funny for you to hear that example in that kind of podcast because we're talking about the feminine energy. And here I am. I really want to bring out a process by Tony Robbins, the Dixon process, I think it's called. My friend just did UPW, and she was telling me about how she's done this process, and she's someone who's usually not really expressive and everything. And like she was screaming out of the pain, feeling the Dixon process is basically feeling the pain of what it would be like to stay stuck in your shit, basically, in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. And then, so once you do this process, you go into the pain of feeling what it's like to choose the same outcome again and again. And so imagine what it's like to live in a body where you're still shrinking, overthinking, and being stuck in that prison, this jail. Do you say jail? It sounds like gel, like for the nails, like, sorry. So we were talking about this process, and we actually found a YouTube video of someone else. I don't remember the guy. He leads kind of a meditation following the Dixon process. You can actually look it up on YouTube. I'm sure you will find it. And you go and feel that pain, and you can apply that to so many things in your life. But in this case, when we talk about not feeling at home in your body, like how long again? You deserve to soften into yourself, right? To move through life with presence, to exist with ease. Like only talking about this, like my whole body softens. You deserve to live in a body where your body becomes a place of pleasure, not performance, not trying so hard, not wearing a mask, not being so rigid. You deserve to feel sensual and soft in your own way, to reconnect with your feminine energy, to enjoy intimacy without shutting down, and to finally feel like a woman, right? Not just someone who's doing it all. To feel like a woman, to feel like yourself in your womanhood. You also start to express your sensuality without the shame. You stop hiding, you stop apologizing, you stop shrinking, clenching. You let yourself be seen by you first, right? Again, like this journey is so personal. You also stop second guessing your beauty, your voice, your desires. You start feeling sexy without the guilt. You stop thinking that you have to be appropriate, and you express your desire without the fear. How cool does that sound? You also start to live turned on, not just in moments, not just like when you're on vacation on the beach, that one time all the circumstances were perfect, but actually every day. You don't wait for permission or the perfect mood, but you actually become the woman who brings the pleasure into everything she does, even if you only have chores to do this day. You move through life magnetically. And it doesn't mean out there and loud, as I said. You just create daily rituals that turn you on. You enjoy your sensuality as a lifestyle, as a way for you to feel more alive and more connected and more you. And you also deepen your feminine power and radiance. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about finally owning it. As I said, You walk differently, you speak differently, you lead differently. You become a woman who knows her power and lives from it. You embody all of who you are, every last bit, every parts. Just like I was in my shower claiming that I was marrying myself, and I did. A year later, I went into this whole 1-year journey to marry myself. And you start to really embrace, that's so feminine in nature, to be the shapeshifter, to have so many different archetypes. We also work a lot on archetypes within the program because you get to move from one archetype of the feminine to the other. The mothering, nurturing, soft, baker at home kind of lady, to the seductress, sexy, wild woman, to the spiritual wise woman. Like, you can move through so many parts of you, and this is so feminine to reclaim all of you. And you start to really refine your expression with confidence. You start to be just more yourself. You cultivate practices that actually supports that energy, your feminine, your womanhood, and you radiate from the inside out. I was so afraid of that. And this is a work that I do every single fucking day. And some days I fail miserably. Okay. And that's why I'm passionate about this work, is because I have the tools and the practices. I have the strong support system to come back to this work and to switch, because the natural energy, what we've been taught, the society in which we live in, it's teaching us the radical opposite. It's teaching us to be overly masculine, overthinkers, really productive, efficient, like all those qualities. So it's important to have a place where you can land into your feminine again and switch gears. Like, oh, I'm approaching the situation in the wrong way. And it's not like per se that it's wrong. Like, you need your masculine. We also talk about this in the program. You need a strong masculine to hold your feminine. And the more you're going to cultivate this healthy masculine, I know it sounds, contradictory, but the more you're going to be in your masculine, healthy, grounded masculine, the more your feminine is going to come through. This is inner union type of shit, right? But this is a lingo that I'm kind of tired of using. I want to use more simple words, but sometimes I get super woo and I love to talk about the deep things, and it's hard to find names for it. But I want to bring that knowledge in a more simple, like, real way. This is important for me. This is what I'm going to finish this podcast on, because I've been talking a lot about the release of my new program, because this is happening today. And today you can get it for a very low rate, the lowest rate it's going to ever be. So I also wanted to highlight that compared to any of my programs before, because I took a almost 2 years break in creating offers and programs. So I came back with so much more wisdom. I'm a mom now. I'm a busy person. I've been through so much, and I wanted this program to be as accessible as possible. So I didn't want to be just like how to be sensual kind of program. I wanted that it's the education we never received, right? About our bodies, pleasure, feminine energy, sex, sensuality, and feeling fucking alive. Fully alive. I should stop swearing, no? I don't know. I love swearing, and it's great in the podcast because I don't censor myself as much as on social media. But why do I swear so much? And that's also, it's proving the point that you can be feminine, and you can, my feminine rituals, they support me, but it doesn't change who I am, right? I love the feminine things. I love my deep rituals. I love to be connected with my yoni. I love little flowers and meditation and flowy dresses, but I also love this tough love, hyper masculine in me, right? I'm very integrated in both, and that feminine side of me, not everyone is getting access to it. The most soft, surrendered version of me, only my partner has access to it. And me, myself, in my intimate journey as well. But I don't give the access to that. I love to display a lot of things on social media, but I'm never displaying how soft my heart can truly be. I'm never displaying how sensual I can truly be. This is just intimate part of the journey. And I know it's not good for marketing, because it would be so freaking amazing for me to show up with more softness and everything, but I'm in my teacher role right now. I'm in the coach, really, like I'm coaching you. I really want to empower you to like convey a message, and I'm so passionate. I have this inner fire. So that's also the proof that you can be all of it without taming your fire. I think that's something important also I want to highlight. But I created this program also because I was tired of seeing those teachings only exist in the secret corners of the internet, right? And it was like hidden under a language that felt so inaccessible unless you're already part of this world. It was super woo-woo, super out there in the clouds, and I'm kind of done with it. So yes, Femme Sensuelle, my program, is deeply spiritual, but it's also refreshingly grounded because that's what I needed. And I gathered the practices, the truth, the liberating perspective that usually feels too heavy, too complex, or too woo for the everyday woman. And I made them digestible, practical, and transformational. I wanted to do that for the mom, the woman in her 9 to 5, the creative who lost her spark and is busy creating something. I wanted to create that for, if you ever felt disconnected from your sensual self and you craved a way back to her that felt real, embodied, down to earth. Because this work isn't just for the women already tapped in, it's for every woman who's ready to come home to herself without needing to change who she is first. So it can apply to so many different women, right? Like I created this program with different archetypes in mind. I have the one who's felt too rigid and stuck in her masculine, for the one who felt ashamed and awkward in her body, but also the one who felt this potential, and she's already very sensual, but she just knows there is so much so much more to explore. And I also created that for the devoted one, the woman who is already tapped in, but please, that like I needed a more refreshing, grounded approach to it that is more digestible, more real, because I've been the sensual priestess, right? Like I've been spending like 6 hours every single morning, 5 to 6 hours every day to cultivate that part of me, to be in deep rituals, devotion, like wow, like so deep. I don't have time for this. I have an amazing daughter that I love to be present with. I have, so much to do in my business to rebuild it from the ground up. I have so much to do for my physical health, right? I'm 8 months postpartum. I want to take care of my body. I need to cook. I need to clean. I need to do so many things. That's a topic for another day, because in Femme Sensuelle, we'll also talk about how we can do all of this and being super busy, but in a very sensual way. This program is everything. Literally, it's the education that I wish I had 15 years ago, like 20 years ago, when I was a young lady. But it's never too late, right? So if you want to join, if you're ready to join the women who are activating deeper layers of their femininity and sensuality from the program Femme Sensuelle, so maybe you also want to join us in Femme Sensuelle to learn so much more than just living in your feminine. And just know that the women that are activating deeper layers of their femininity and sensuality from Femme Sensuelle are not necessarily new to feminine embodiment work. They're just unlocking a whole new way to be in their body, pleasure, and turn on. So if you want the special link with all the infos and the juicy little sexy prize for the launch, you can DM me the word femme on Instagram and I will send you the direct link. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Sending you so much love. Go and shine this light, baby.